Fabricio Andrade, great to see you, mate. You're quarantining in Singapore. You're back in action. Really excited to talk to you because you made a huge impression on everybody with your one championship debut against Mark Abelardo. What a performance that was. And now, is it safe to say this is the biggest fight in your career coming up against Shoko Sato?
Yes, for sure. I'm getting like my biggest challenge for MMA on one championship right now.
It's crazy because a lot of people, especially fighters, right? They've been through really tough times with COVID. People are trying to survive. People need to compete. It's been terrible, but maybe you're one of the few fighters who's actually done pretty well because you got this opportunity. One, we're putting all these shows in Thailand, and then you got the call when maybe you would have had to wait longer. Maybe you wouldn't have got the call, and then you took the most of it. I mean, you made such a big impression, as I said, and now you're fighting the number two guy. So does that feel interesting or funny to you that maybe 2020, terrible year for everybody, but for you, it kind of worked out well?
Yes, for sure. Like sometimes like I start to think about it and I'm like, I don't know how it all happened like so fast. Like I don't even have a contract for 2020 and somehow I got the contract and I was fighting a good guy and after I won like everything happened so fast and now I'm fighting the number two contender, so I'm getting closer to the belt and everything is so excited for me. Like sometimes I don't know, like I just wake up like wow, it's all really happening. Like I have been like through so many tough times and it's very hard to make people pay attention to you when you are not like a big name, when you don't have like a proper like career building, like I'm just like a normal fighter that accepts anyone, that fights anyone, and I'm waiting to anyone. And it's still very hard to make people look at you and pay attention to you. But now I'm here and now I'm fighting those guys and I'm performing over them. And now people have to see me, people have to watch me.
You're definitely somebody I've made a mental note of, and I was really interested to see what they would have next for you. Can you tell us a little bit about how this fight came about? The number two guy, former Shuto champion. This is a really big deal. How did you get here, basically? How did this fight come about? Were you offered, was he the only offer that you had? Did you say, give me anybody? How do you suddenly get the number two guy like this? How did it happen?
Yeah, like I told you on FC, like I don't care who my opponent is. I'm here to fight the best. I believe I am one of the best fighters in the world, and I believe that I can beat anyone. So I don't pick opponents. They all know I accept anyone. And when they send me Sato, I clearly just signed the contract because I'm ready to fight anyone on one championship, bantamweight division. I'm ready to take the belt, and I'll do everything I have to do for that. Like I know Sato was a very experienced opponent. It'll be a tough fight, but I'm ready. I have been ready for a long time for that.
He's riding a six-fight winning streak. I think the interesting thing about you is people know that your kickboxing background and training at Tiger, but you look at your MMA career, you're choking people out as well. You look great on the ground against Mark. How pleased have you been with the way that your game is kind of evolving, and how pleased are you with your all-round game?
Yeah, like a lot of people just know me for my kickboxing, and because like on the start of my career, for the simple fact that I accept any opponent, uh, I have like I made some mistakes. What is normal? Everybody made the mistakes. I have some fails on my games, and I have to correct it. And but I have been training jiu-jitsu for a long time. I had trained jiu-jitsu since I was 16 years old. So my jiu-jitsu is not like a bad jiu-jitsu. I have a good jiu-jitsu, and people who train with me, they know that. I have a problem with my wrestling, and a lot of people would put me down on my earlier fights, whereas I already corrected. I have training wrestling really hard, and I kept training wrestling really hard for Abelardo, before Abelardo's fights, after Abelardo's fights, and for this fight. So I'm very confident on my grappling game, as I'm confident on my strike game as well.
How important have the Hickman brothers been? Those guys have been doing some incredible things, and we're seeing the success coming from Tiger Muay Thai. I mean, 3 UFC champions have trained in Tiger at some point, you know, and not to mention, you know, people coming from one rising ACA, all these promotions. It seems to be a really special time at Tiger, although I know it's tough right now. A lot of people can't get into Phuket. But could you tell us a little bit, especially training with Raphael Fiziev, training with George Hickman? How has that been for you?
Yeah, Frank and George, they put a lot of effort on the wrestling class. They really push us. They really ask you people to come train wrestling. Like, it's a really good push, and they put a lot of effort. They want us to get better because they know how important it is wrestling for MMA right now. You know, it's worth a pair the strike game from the grappling game, from the jiu-jitsu game. Like, if you have strike and you have jiu-jitsu, but you don't have wrestling, it's kind of difficult to put both together. So you need wrestling to put both together, and that's what I think is the improvement that I have done in the past years is improve my wrestling, is train hard, and now I have everything. I have the strike, I have the wrestling, and I have the jiu-jitsu. You know, so it's really good to have them in Tiger. It's really good to be pushed, to have someone to make us understand how important it is to keep training wrestling, to feel comfortable, to get comfortable when you grapple with someone too. You know, especially for me that I have a strike background. It's very important for me to feel confident when I'm grappling as well. And right now, I really feel really comfortable. Like, I feel like I can grapple with anyone as well. And that's
One
why
of the
I'm very confident for this fight too.
one of the guys I just mentioned, Raphael Fiziev, you train a lot with him, right? And he's a coach there as well. How impressed have you been with him, and what's it been like striking with him? Because, you know, I heard that you and him are two of the best strikers at Tiger.
Yeah, I know Rafael for like maybe three or more, like 3 years or more. And like, we all already knew like how good he were even before he was on UFC. You know, when he was fighting in Road FC, we already knew how impressive he would be when he got to UFC. And it's really good. It's really good to train with him, and it's really good to see that I am on the level as well. You know, like, I can train with those guys, I can learn from them, and it's really good to have people like him training with us.
So finally, then, what can the fans expect from you? Because if you win, it's going to be a shock. But is that what you've got in store? A big shock?
I love it. I love it. I love it when I'm the underdog because nothing had come easy for me, and everything has been hard. And I love to be here. I love to see people talking that I cannot do because I can do, and I know. And when I prove people wrong, it's the best feeling in the world. You know, uh, I'm very excited. I have trained hard. I know my skills. I'm very confident, and people can expect a very technical fight. I truly believe that I am better than Sato, and I'll prove that.
I can't wait to see it, man. Very good to have you back in the circle. Respect, and look forward to talking to you again soon. All the best.
Thank you.